Hi guys, happy Tuesday. I am coming back from a different location, trying to figure out what works best for videotaping. I still am using my phone, so it's a work in progress. I will absolutely share what my tripod slash my kids' books and toys look like with you guys on Instagram to show you what it is really going on here. But anyways, happy Tuesday. Welcome to February. I can't believe it is February. Those of us in New England are super excited because rumor is that we get 6 early weeks of spring, which I know the science, like I told my daughter, yes, we still technically are winter, but hoping for some spring-like weather. It's a little bit brighter outside today than normal in that dreary winter, so fingers crossed. In New England, we get some better weather. So today I wanted to do something a little different. I know last week I shared my a little of my story, why this got started. So today I want to share something that keeps coming up that you guys keep asking and I keep talking about. So a little about my journey with professional development books. I hated them. People would be like, oh, read a book about da 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 da. And I'd buy it and it'd sit on my shelf, or I'd get partway through it and I just wouldn't read it. So a lot of times I told myself, well, it's not calling to me. I don't need that in my life right now, which I think is just a whole bunch of BS, and the fact that I just didn't want to read the book. So I found a book I liked, got sucked into it, started to see the benefit of it. And in actuality, it wasn't like I picked up a book and was like, oh, this is great, I'm going to read it. I actually started carving out time each day or each week that I would read a professional development book. So at the time I was taking a business workshop, something that was kind of showing me how to build my own mindset so that I could be a better entrepreneur, which was great because I was forced to do it. But in doing that, I kind of found a routine and also found getting through that muckiness of actually picking up a book that wasn't a nonfiction or wasn't a fiction, I should say, that I could kind of escape to was huge. I could go on and on and on forever about books. I love books. I've always been a reader. Love to just walk around Barnes and Noble or any bookstore and kind of look at the covers and things like that. But I have 3 books I wanted to share with you just to keep it short and simple. And 3 books that I have read recently, love, and I feel like I just keep sharing them lately. So I'm going to share them on this platform too. So the first one I have to share for you is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, which I'm sure you guys have probably heard the name. She has the Netflix special. She's very active on sharing about shame, and I think one of her other one was Dare to Lead and Daring Greatly. So a lot about, coming out of your comfort zone. I originally bought this book almost 3 years ago, and it sat in my bookshelf, dusty and gross, until this November. Because I'm going to be honest, I looked at the cover and was like, this is lame. This is one of those books where it's all that hooey-dooey, voodoo, new age stuff. It's not for me. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's going to be super spiritual. It looks like it's a religious book. And the joke was on me. So I picked it up in November. I think I said October, November, because it had come up a few times that other people I knew were reading it. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll pick it up. I'll try it. I'll do a chapter a day, see how it goes. Needless to say, this might be one of my absolute favorite books. If you looked through it, I literally have underlines. I have notes. I have ways that, I can apply it. Awesome book. So just the basis of this, because I don't want to give away all the goodness, because I really want you to go in and check it out and read it. But the whole idea of the book is really to get inside yourself and realize that a lot of our feelings of guilt or overwhelm those feelings that we're not enough come from this sense of shame and this, picture perfect idea of who we're supposed to be and this whole idea of perfection. So for me, perfection and being a perfectionist is a really hard thing for me, hence why I constantly talk about it, constantly share it. This book was what really reframed my own mindset on the gifts of imperfection and perfectionism. It really forces you to sit there and think about all of these thoughts and why you do things and, what are your goals and how are you thinking? And to think, like, is this a goal for me? Is this a goal because I feel like I should have this goal? Am I doing this goal because, I want to be accepted and belong? And it really takes that piece of humanity where we all want to connect. We all want to feel like we have a part, connected to someone. We all want to feel that love and support. And it just empowers you to acknowledge that we're not perfect and that each of us have our own special gifts. And while your gift may not be a good fit for someone else, it is for someone somewhere. And why should you have to kind of feel that shame or feel like you have to hold yourself back because you have this ideal? And I've talked a lot on my social media and off and on throughout these little video chats. I guess I'm going to call them chats because really it's just me chatting about how I really struggled with comparison. And this book kind of knocked me on my butt, and said, wait a minute, why is this a big deal to you? And let's, go into that. I will recommend this book to every mom, working woman. I mean, it's amazing. It really, truly has changed my life. And I know that sounds silly, but it's just one of those that gives you those aha moments and helps you feel empowered. So again, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. I've read a couple of her other ones. You will love them. So that's the first book I wanted to share. So the second one I actually bought because I was, again, taking a course. I think it was actually the same time as The Gifts of Imperfection. I might have read this one first, but I can't remember. And it was talking about why. So why do you do things? Why are you a business owner? Why are you a parent? What do you do? And a lot of times we have this why, it's a goal. I want to do this because I want to have more flexibility at home, or I want to do this because, I need the income, or I want to do this because I want to get healthy. And those are great reasons, but they're not necessarily that why you're here on earth. And for me, Start With Why by Simon Sinek was kind of this, excuse me, I'm taking a drink because I'm dying of thirst. It was kind of like this aha moment for me, because it took me beyond what my goals were. For so long, I said, I want to be home because it's, hard to be a working mom and have so many kids. I want to be home because I want to be more available. But that was just a goal. And it really took me some time reading this book to realize, your why is so much more than your goal. Your why is that purpose or passion, kind of why you are here on earth. And for me, it was I've always been a teacher. I've always loved connecting. I've always loved sharing my experience. For me, talking and connecting with people, even though it's very challenging for me to do as an anxious person, always seems to be that way that I learn and I grow. And for me as a teacher, one of my favorite things was seeing those aha moments where, as a special ed teacher, you work and you work and you work, and these kids, I tended to have the upper elementary, are starting to become so aware of themselves and that they're struggling and so isn't. And, I have to do something differently. And it's that moment where I felt like I empowered them, that they were owning who they were, owning their challenges as actual strengths, which is so hard to do. But that was really my passion. That was what got me going as a teacher. I love to see my kids do that. I love when I have that moment. I love when, my teammates in my direct sales business do that. I love that aha, like you have the confidence, you can see like this just like radiating from them, like we've done this. So for me, Start With Why really brought me back to that. I felt like I was in this time of transition where I felt like I was in limbo. Like I loved what I was doing, but I wasn't gaining a lot of traction. And I wasn't sure why I wasn't gaining traction, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And Start With Why kind of brought me back to that purpose of your purpose is to be a servant leader to help others. Your purpose isn't necessarily to sell products. It isn't necessarily to go into school every day. Your gift, your passion is actually to just share and connect with others. And that's how you empower, and that's how you gain confidence. So for me, it started out as a book that I wanted to know what my why was for my business. And it became so much more. So Simon Sinek's Start With Why, loved this one. Again, I recommend this one all the time. So the last one I have for you today is one I just read recently. I'm gonna be honest, it called to me because it's colorful. I am a huge person. If the cover looks colorful or interesting, I'll pick the book up, even if it's the worst book in the world. So this is Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo. Forleo? I'm assuming that's how it is. I apologize if I said it wrong. And what I didn't know is that she also has a YouTube channel. So that was kind of a cool little thing, like, oh, there's a reason this book called to me. So the whole basis of this book is that in all of these day-to-day things, we tend to give up because things seem so insurmountable. But in reality, you just have to think like it's all figureoutable. I'm not saying like you can cure cancer, which I'm sure that sometime down the line, someone will figure that out. But you're able to take those really challenging things and break them down into more step-by-step pieces. You may not always get the outcome you want, but instead of looking at life as this big, overwhelming mountain, just take it step by step and remind yourself that everything is figureoutable. There is a way to find your next step in the path. So for me, this one was really good. What I liked about it was that it was no nonsense. So she just tells it like it is. You either take it or leave it. And for me, that's kind of huge because I don't like that fluffy, like, oh, you can do this, you can do that. Like, I want it straight out. Tell me what I need to do. Let me follow that. So this was a newer one. I wasn't necessarily looking for this book and it jumped out at me and I'm glad that I read it. It's Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo. She has a YouTube channel that you're more than welcome to check out. So those are the three. Again, I like to keep things short and simple. So the 3 books, Gifts of Imperfection, Start With Why, and Everything is Figureoutable. So my 3 favorite books right now. Reach out if you have any others you want to share or any other questions about those books. And I'm going to try to do a little bit more of sharing books and resources more frequently. So be on the lookout for that, and I will chat with everyone next week.